Hey, sailors. I wanted to kind of get an announcement out there regarding sailing next week, June 3rd, our first Wednesday, kicking off the season. And I feel like we've had a really great kickoff the last couple of years. It's going to be windy. And so I wanted to kind of do a mental checklist. I had plans of being out at my butterfly, kind of showing you things to check. That's not happening. But I wanted to get these out, kind of a verbal checklist before we go. I'm kind of summarizing the sailors meeting and also getting into kind of the checklist. First of all, regarding safety equipment, right? We should all be wearing a life preserver or have a life preserver on board, but it doesn't really help us much unless we are wearing it. So if we fall out, get hit, something like that. But you are adults and you can figure out what you're going to wear for your safety and protection. Two, if you are not confident in riding your boat, so if the boat tips over somehow, I've fallen out of the boat because my hiking strap is broken, my traveler's broken, my halyard's broken. Yeah, this happens a lot with me, right? Do you have confidence in riding your boat? That could be from a complete overturn that we call the turtle, where the mast is pointing down. Can you get up onto that boat like the edge and reach the centerboard? Or even if it's where the sail's just parallel with the water, are you able to get the boat upright and also into the boat? If you are comfortable with that, I don't suggest putting any type of flotation at the top of your mast, right? But if you're like, getting in the boat makes me nervous, right? Or I'm not sure if I can get back in the boat. I'm not sure I can right my boat, especially from a turtle. I want to make sure that you provide some sort of flotation at the top. That could be a milk jug. Just make sure you've got something twist on it, because all my milk jugs have the pop-off top. So try to find something that twists. It could be a Clorox bottle or a bleach bottle, something like that. It definitely cannot be 1 liter. I think it has to be a minimum of 2 liters. I could be wrong. Someone can make a comment related to this little post on the news article. And then what else was I going to say? If you need a tow out, right, you're like at the very back end of the cove or down by the yacht club, and you don't have arrangements to get out to the race course, and you would like that, let's get some contact with me, okay? What I'm going to do for my safety folks is basically the 2 gals have their own separate boats. So before the race, I was going to have them in their own separate boats towing, right? So whoever they've arranged for, I'm certain it would be nice to arrange some compensation if it's a weekly thing to and from, and as far as making sure you appreciate their service. And then once you get you out to the race, they can get you back home. Hopefully help you with your time commitment and stuff like that. And then once they've got the towing done, they'll park a boat, join together for rescue, okay? Both their parents and the girls are fine with them being on the same boat and not socially distanced because they ski all the time together and they hang out together. So just so you know if that's a thing of risk. And lastly, so yeah, contact me about getting a tow, and I can arrange for that with Grayson and Sedona. Finally, let's just do a mental checklist, okay? And where do we want to start? I'm going to start at the back of the boat. Not sure why, okay? First of all, you've got the rudder-tiller combination, okay? You want to make sure you've got some type of rope tied to that rudder, right, which is the metal part. Somewhere find a loop and tie it to the side of the traveler. There's a little... I don't even know what to call it. It's not a U-bolt, but there's some place where you can secure that rudder. So if you tip over and it falls off, it doesn't sink. They are heavy enough. It's mostly metal. That wood handle does not keep it afloat. Speaking of the traveler is that item that has a pulley on it, connects to the back of your boom. You want to make sure that that is not fraying, okay? And sometimes that coating gets weathered and just, I don't know what the right word is, that plastic coating breaks up. That's going to catch that back pulley going back and forth. So 1, let's make sure it's not frayed. 2, let's make sure the supports aren't ripping out from the sides. And then 3, let's make sure that pulley can move back and forth freely. So if it's a pulley on the Traveler, that's great. But I just have like, I don't know, just a little whoop, a little hook underneath it and just travels along it. All right. Let's move forward in the boat, the cockpit area. Those side wood slats, let's make sure those are stable, that you can move them up and down, right? But also in and out. If they are loose, that's a concern, okay? And then the hiking strap. This is where I fall short. Actually, the Traveler broke on me last year and tipped me over. And then the year before that, my hiking strap broke and I fell out of the boat and I tipped over. I'm just notorious for this. Making sure your hiking strap is ready. And actually, honestly, we usually use a foam around a strap. Using some electrical tape or something to make sure that foam doesn't rip works just fine. Moving forward, okay? I think the centerboard should be fine. The centerboard usually has a knob on the front, and then they have 2 flaps on the sides. Those should be able to keep that centerboard in position. If it doesn't have that restraint, the centerboard's going to pop up because it's wooden, okay? You can torque it a little bit with a rope. Ultimately, you want to make sure those flaps have not decayed with sunlight and exposure and weather. Moving forward, the stays. This is where you should be checking for fraying, and it's not just at the ends, the top and the bottom. You need to check along the stays. So before you put that mast up, do a visual inspection. I actually, right now, I have a kink in one of my stays. I think before I bought the boat, it had tipped over and fallen like on a seawall. So I've got a kink in that. So I need to always go back and check to make sure that's not fraying. And then, as far as the top, I always look at the top of the mast. There's a pulley on the top to see if that's not loose or cracked. One year mine was cracked and I had to replace that top unit. Finally, I move forward. I make sure my bow line has plenty of length. It's secure. And then I check around my boat, the trim. And I actually do a visual inspection of the bottom to see if any holes got in. It shouldn't. My boat was pretty protected underneath the covered dock over the summer. So those are the things I check. For my experienced sailors, like other experienced sailors, if you have anything else to add to that list, right, please add it in the comments section, okay? Sailors, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting on the water. I'm looking forward to seeing you all, to gathering, chit-chatting on the lake, giving a little crap to each other, because that's what we do. Yeah, let's start this season off with a bang, all right? Talk to you soon.